All right, so I'm going to do a little segment today on Boysdale Camp. Now, Boysdale Camp's a pretty interesting little place. I went to it as a kid, and I'll tell you the pristine beauty of northern Alberta, the parkland, and the boreal forest region surrounding Edmonton makes this place special. It is like the mountains down here. When you get to about this point here, when you're down here in the campsite, and you're basically amongst where all of the, well, I guess you'd say the cabins were. Yeah, you're right, the place shut down after all. The cabins that were all positioned here, my cabin that I stayed at when I was a kid was right there. And I had a camp counselor that was an RCMP officer named Chris, and he was in the Canadian Armed Forces. He was the greatest guy ever. I want to say that if he still exists, Chris from Boysdale Camp, when you're a camp counselor, way back when, I haven't forgot about you. I still remember your rough, coarse behavior and your stout personality, your salt and pepper, and you basically don't do the spit and polish trained military intelligence officer of some sort and some kind of courageous, brave RCMP officer. I hope that your experiences at Boysdale Camp brought you to the anti-deep state alliances of the right and the other camps too. I hope that it basically brought you to them, and I hope that it inspired you to do the right thing for the children of this earth and to stand with them and not technically to be against them at all. Still need to be disciplined, but not that badly. Anyways, I want to actually say, and I'm just doing some wishful thinking here, I want to take the Boysdale campsite and own that. And I want to build an acreage, and I want to build a fairly good-sized property and use that ancient spirit still left in the Sturgeon River from the ancient 10th quadrants and the first dimensions and all the memories that soaked into the waters from the fall of Arcturus and the quadrants of the universe collapsing and disintegrating still exist in that valley. I felt it when I was there doing, and this is the interesting thing too, right here is a pathway to a bridge that goes to an obstacle course. There's an obstacle course right in here. And when I walked into that obstacle course, and these trees canopying above my head, and these massive boreals being in this little river valley, in this little tiny river near the North Saskatchewan, it reminded me of the mountains. It reminded me of Castle Base on Reach. It reminded me of Castle Base on Reach when I climbed up the rope and went all over these obstacles. It reminded me of my training at Reach as a Spartan 2 in an ancient time. And you know what? It was a breathtaking idea to be there. And then when I went for a walk into the western regions of Boysdale Camp's property, apparently we come across this grove of spruce trees, pine trees, and cedar trees right in here. When you get to this point, right here is where it gets really interesting. The vista, the view is beautiful. My God, I want this place too. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll come together. Inshallah. Anyways, you stand right about there, and you're basically thinking, wait a minute, am I in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta? Am I in the foothills of Alberta? Or am I in the prairies? That's how confusing it is. The way the trees grow and the way they're sprouted up along the waterway's edge, it literally reminds you of the foothills of Alberta and the Rocky Mountains in the same place, but it's in the parkland regions of Alberta. So that's really crazy. We've got a real supernatural and enchanted site here that used to be called Boysdale Camp, but it's not anymore. The enchanting and enlightening experience of Boysdale Camp from the past, and a lot of those on my expedition team that came with me to Earth for different reasons, but I'm going to say why. The 14,000 starseeds that were there at Boysdale Camp, I want you to remember one thing. What brought you together with us was that. We converged, but we didn't know each other from the inside to the outside of us. We weren't allowed to, but we were still there. It was still enchanting and enlightening, and I think that region of Sturgeon County needs to be designated for the LGBTQIA+ community of the greater Edmonton area and also the surrounding towns and cities too. We all went there as kids of the LGBTQIA+ community. James did too. I was there with them, and we've been through our struggles. Kane was there in spirit, Rosie and Rose too, and the kids from the old days. second quadrants, and Areas 2, and Area 2, and Site 2 too. We were all in the Sturgeon River. We were all in the trees watching you walk amongst us and living amongst us, and we wanted to bring you back, and we did. Sorry for the struggle I put you through. It's a tough place to be, says Cain, but I'm still here alive in a new body, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in a matter of a few weeks, and not even more than that, and we'll be home here again with a newly renewed planet, reinvented people, and a prison population that listens, and the asexual sex index going up to triple threat, red to purple. Oh no, we're going to have triple threat, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, threat level starseed indigo, and threat level indigo starseed. Oh, you know why? There's something wrong with these people. Oh, that's for his hentai body. Yeah, it's like his body. Okay. Well, either which way, Rosie and us lived down there with you for the 3 years that you were there. Don't worry about ratting people out, but you didn't. I remember that. And that basically the Sturgeon River in this region here, where you got to with Chris and the rest of the camp counselors, you guys made it out to this point here. And boy, that was even more perplexing, wasn't it? You looked out into the big farmers' fields and thought, wait a minute, I'm in the prairie regions of Alberta, but I feel like I'm in the Rocky Mountains, immense at a place like Jasper National Park, or that's what it is, right? Because you remember that the Lozelles had an RV, a 28-footer, and apparently a F-250 truck, and they would take you out to Jasper National Park, and they would take you out to Elk Island, and they took you out to Kimball Lake Provincial Park out in Saskatchewan. You went camping out in the rural areas. You were there for 9 years. You're a ruralite, urbanite, ruralite. You don't give up. That's the way it goes. But as for this region here, the Hope Adventure Center is basically the replacement for the old Boysdale camp. The Hope Adventure Center is basically a new Meccan site, a new Medinan site for reforming Medinans to Meccans, and reforming Satanists into Setians to become peoples of Jesus and God eventually. That's the idea of it, but the Meccans just want to kind of focus on the local area. We have former Setians here in the city. We do. We're going to have to work with that. We're going to have to work with that. The Hope Adventure Center, I'm just looking at that on Google Street View. That's a nice acreage. That's a nice acreage point, too. It's the... What's the acreage called? Let me just pull it back here. All right. Hugh Haven. Hugh Haven Estates is what it's called. Hugh Haven Estates, just northeast of Edmonton. I'll show you how to look this up because this is a strange place. You have to go up Highway 15. Yes, you go up Highway 15. You turn off onto a range road and head north. And that's where you go. Oh, Hugh Haven Estates is a little bit off beat. But you go down 825 and then you come up a dirt road and it says Hope Adventure Center. And it's a nice property. There's a segment on CBC about it. It looks like a nice place. Hugh Haven Estates in Sturgeon County. Found it. Ooh. Found it. You know what we're going to do here? Yeah, we're going to... Oh, and it's a private... Oh, my God. You know what's interesting? Google Street View did not go through Hugh Haven Estates. Google Street View avoided Hugh Haven Estates and basically Boysdale Camp 2. So it's a secluded and private area outside of Edmonton, and these mansions are huge. This one here, oh my God, that's got to be worth like $5 million. These are very rich people that live in a very, very secluded, well-wooded area near a small offshoot river before it even flows into the North Saskatchewan anyways. Like I say, it's a hell of a place to be. I would say maybe it's time to consider having these Californians move out here and move up to these estates and take over these small towns like Bonnecourt and Gibbons and Redwater and Morinville and places like Devon and Beaumont and Leduc. And just like I say, immigrate here and make your home as it is and just try to work with that. You know what I mean? We got a developing city, a developing metropolis. We need that. Okay. And you just keep on going, sir. The heartland of Alberta is not the enemies of anybody. That's all I'll say. And Jesus and God is him, and God is Jesus is him too, but her. the guy named James, who is Zach, and Zach, who is James from within, in Edmonton. He is Jesus, who is God, God, who is Jesus from within, and God, who is Jesus, and Jesus, who is God from the outside, too. He is seen as God to us rural Albertans. Us rural Albertans all across the province see him as a people of Jesus and God who's Jesus. It's just the rural Albertans have noticed one thing. The urbanites of Edmonton, St. Albert, Red Deer, Airdrie, Calgary, Brooks, and then also Lethbridge and Medicine Hat have a disdain against him. It's the urbanites versus the ruralites. The ruralites were truly Christian this whole time. Yes, we are. The urbanites are not really Christian or religious, but political and Fox Christians at that. That's what we'll say. Yep, you're damn right.